Greetings all, and thanks for choosing to watch this video. After a long wait, Anbernic has finally come to the party this year with the RG557. It boasts some impressive specs on paper, but does that hold up in terms of the higher price point for it? I mean, it's currently about $80 more than its predecessor and about $30 more than the likes of the Retroid Pocket 5 before shipping. This got me thinking that a comparison between the two might be interesting, as I'm sure a lot of you are wondering which one would be better to get, or if you already have a 556 or an RP5, would it be worth upgrading? In this video, I'm going to compare the two and give you some clarity on that. Just a reminder though that the facts I represent here are based off extensive research of some of the top hands-on reviews on YouTube, and it is not a hands-on experience. I do believe there's still a lot of value here, as it's basically a concise overview giving you the most relevant facts in one compact format. So if you find some value from it, please remember to like and subscribe, as I'm sure some of my upcoming content would be interesting to you. If my voice sounds a bit funny, please bear with me, I've been battling a bit of a cold. With that said, let's take a look at the specifications. Here, the most significant distinction lies in the choice of chipset. The Retroid Pocket 5 utilizes the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865, a well-regarded processor known for its balance of performance and efficiency. In contrast, the Anbernic RG557 is equipped with the MediaTek Dimensity 8300, a more recent chipset that, on paper, offers higher raw processing power, but more on that later. Beyond the core processing unit, there are differences in RAM, storage, and battery, all in favor of the 557. Furthermore, the RG557 ships with a newer Android 14 operating system, while the Retroid Pocket 5 runs on Android 13. The RP5 does, however, currently have the option to install Linux in terms of the Rocknix OS. This will give you access to Portmaster and the likes of Xbox emulation, which is not available on the 557 just yet. One thing I have to mention though is that although the screens are basically identical, reviewers noted that the PWM flickering is much worse on the screen of the 557, and although this is not really visible with the naked eye, it can affect some people negatively. So if that is you, you may want to steer clear. Let's consider the performance these two bring to the table, as this is where it gets really interesting. Both the Retroid Pocket 5 and the Anbernic RG557 aim to provide robust performance across a range of gaming scenarios, from emulating classic consoles to playing more modern Android titles. The newer Dimensity 8300 notably outperforms the Snapdragon 865 in synthetic benchmarks. And when I first saw these, it got me excited, as I thought that we finally have a handheld which will be much better at emulating higher-end consoles. Unfortunately, it seems that this does not really translate to real-world experience. When comparing the two in the realm of PlayStation 2 emulation, for example, the Retroid Pocket 5 demonstrates capable performance, with some users reporting smooth gameplay in titles like God of War 2 and Shadow of the Colossus at frame rates between 30 and 60 FPS. The Anbernic RG557 also shows promise in PS2 emulation, with claims of God of War running smoothly at 3.5 times the resolution. But it's worth noting that some users have reported slowdowns in specific titles like Gran Turismo 4 on the 557. For GameCube and Wii emulation, the Retroid Pocket 5 generally performs well, with stable 60 FPS reported in games such as Metroid Prime, and good performance in Rogue Leader, one of the most demanding GameCube games. The Anbernic RG557 also showcases strong capabilities in this area, with the likes of F-Zero GX reported as clear and smooth at 3 times resolution. However, in some tests, the RG557 has shown the likes of Super Mario Sunshine running at only half the speed of the RP5, suggesting potential optimization differences. Emulating more modern consoles like Nintendo Switch presents a greater challenge for each of these though. Here, some titles run well, but from what I've seen, you should be willing to tinker a lot more on the RG557, as most games will require this to run. This difference likely stems from the better driver support for new emulators that the Snapdragon chip has. For native Android gaming, both handhelds offer a capable experience. The RP5 can handle demanding titles like COD Mobile, Asphalt 9, and Diablo at stable high settings. The RG557 offers a similar experience, with titles like Genshin Impact running fantastically if reports are to be believed. This suggests that while the Mali GPU in the 557 might have limitations in some emulation scenarios, it performs strongly in its intended environment of modern mobile games. So at the end of the day, you can gather from the before mentioned that experiences are varied, but the impression I got while doing research is that the difference in performance does not really justify the higher price of the 557. The Neo Dimensity chipset only really shines in certain specific scenarios. But before I make that conclusion though, let's first look at the ergonomics and design. Here, the Retroid Pocket 5 adopts a sleek, minimalistic aesthetic, drawing inspiration from the PlayStation Vita with its glass front and rounded edges. It is larger than its predecessor, the Retroid Pocket 4, but remains relatively pocket-friendly. The analog sticks are positioned in line with the D-pad and face buttons, and the D-pad is praised for its Vita-style design, which offers a loose and accurate input. The face buttons are reported to be slightly muted, but the shoulder and trigger buttons can be somewhat loud according to feedback. In contrast, the Anbernic RG557 uses the same shell design as its predecessor, the RG556, which is widely regarded as very comfortable. It incorporates thick bump outs on the back, providing an excellent grip for many users. The D-pad, on the other hand, is a rubber membrane design that is generally considered good, but can feel glossy and slick to some. The face buttons are also rubber membrane based, offering a pleasant, mushy, and quiet feel. The shoulder buttons are clicky micro switches and can be slightly loud, while the triggers are reported to be somewhat stiff with a short travel distance. On the downside, a common point of criticism for the RG557 is its analog sticks. These are described as very accurate but uncomfortable. Many find them tiny, recessed, and feel that they have a limited range of motion. This is something that left many reviewers baffled, as Anbernic had awesome sticks in their previous handheld, the RG406H. Why not just reuse those? We don't know. Anbernic just chose to go with these ones. But let's wrap it up with a list of pros and cons to give you clarity and to summarize. The Retroid Pocket 5 offers strong emulation performance, particularly for PS2 and GameCube, benefiting from good driver support associated with its Snapdragon chipset. The less pronounced grips makes it more pocketable than the 557. It is also available at a competitive price point, typically around $220 before shipping. On the downside, the slimmer ergonomic design may not be comfortable for all users, especially during extended play. The placement of the analog stick below the D-pad on the left side can be less than ideal for certain game genres, and on paper it has less powerful hardware than the 557. The Anbernic RG557, on the other hand, features a very comfortable ergonomic design with pronounced grips, making it suitable for longer gaming sessions. It is powered by a more powerful chipset and has better specs overall. It also runs the newer Android 14 operating system. What is not so good about it is that the analog sticks are notably small with a limited range of motion, which may impact gameplay in certain titles. The MediaTek Mali GPU can experience compatibility issues and has less optimized drivers. And finally, it has a higher starting price compared to the Retroid Pocket 5, beginning at $250. In conclusion, the choice between the Retroid Pocket 5 and the Anbernic RG557 will depend on individual priorities. For gamers who prioritize ergonomics and raw power for Android gaming, the RG557 might be the more appealing option. However, for those who value better compatibility and driver support for a wide range of devices, the Retroid Pocket 5 could be the preferred choice. As with any gaming device, the best console is subjective and depends on the specific needs and preferences of the user. If you're looking to purchase either of these, I would kindly ask that you consider using my links below, as it supports the channel at no cost to you. If you want some more info on the Pocket 5, you can click on the links on screen now for my other videos on it. That's it for this one though. Have a nice day, and I'll catch you in the next tech update.